Welcome into Dragon Ball Super Dope. My name is Kyle. Thank you for checking this out. So it's been a little bit since we posted an episode. By we, I mean me. And it's like a combination of things. I just haven't been super interested in what's going on in the manga right now, or Dragon Ball in general, which isn't great for me from a mental health perspective. But I did want to, at least for the sake of keeping up with what we do here, run through chapter 93 of Dragon Ball Super real quick. Again, it's stuff that we saw in a movie theater like almost a year ago. So nothing too groundbreaking, really. I'd say the reverse of groundbreaking. And then toward the end, just like seen a lot of good movies this year so far, mostly in the nerd realm of shit, you know. And I saw Spider-Verse last 2 nights ago. It was so good it put me in the hospital. So I just want to talk about those and I guess the hospital. But today is my birthday. So happy birthday to me. I am 30 goddamn 4. And I'm sitting here doing a Dragon Ball podcast just to put some on the feed. Also, I'm alone in the house for once. So, all right, let's do this. Chapter 93, Operation Kidnap Pan. So right off the top, I just want to say this chapter is 45 pages long. Average. First 5 pages, just a brief retelling of the Broly story, of the Broly movie. They're already doing a recap of the superhero movie. And they put that on pause for first 5 pages of this chapter to give me a retelling of a even older movie. Yep. Anyway, I guess there are a couple things I at least liked. I'm not sure if it did it better or worse than the movie in most cases, but I feel like there were some really nice Broly reaction shots to the Vegeta and Goku fight. I thought that was interesting to see him become a little bit more enamored. Like, they do it in the movie as well, but for whatever reason, I just enjoyed maybe the reactions a little bit more. I also enjoyed the Vegeta meditation explanation a little bit more of like, you know, we've basically trained our bodies to the peak and like that's what's allowed us to be able to hang with all these tough opponents. Like our bodies are so much stronger than everyone else's, but they have this one up on us and that they can, focus their bodies or focus their minds with their bodies to be able to release the power at the time they hit, and you can't read their movements and all that stuff. I like the explanation better here in the manga, and this has been pointed out by 1,000,000,001 people. This is not a very original thought, but I think it's a very valid one. Haven't we done this? Haven't you boys been through this before? The fact that Goku himself is just like, you're meditating? That's lame. It's like, dog, we've seen you do this a bunch. What are you talking about? So, again, it's just another example of Dragon Ball Super retreading some stuff that's already been done and has already been retread several times throughout the entirety of the Dragon Ball canon. So, I don't know. Just, I don't want to say frustrating. Like, I guess it's not surprising that they're doing that sort of explanation again to, like, try to give, like, a higher realm to their abilities for the next arc against Frieza. When it's all in your mind, you know, I guess it's a lot easier to justify as opposed to, some crazy transformation getting pulled out of your butthole to save the day. It's just a lot easier to be like, well, now I'm stronger in the mind. There's no real way to put that on the page, so you're just going to have to take it away from these dialogue boxes. I don't know, boys. This is, the prequel to the Dragon Ball superhero movie itself, the 3 chapters with Goten and Trunks. I thought the premise was a little bit lame, just because like we know that nothing of uber consequence is going to happen because of what happens in the movie and how we see the boys and all that. But it was at least still like fun and fresh and different-ish, and it was I enjoyed it for the most part, given the circumstances. Having to research through this movie has been really tough for me. I really would just wish they would progress the story. And they're not. Like, they're just taking the rest of the fucking year off. It's, I don't know. We get made fun of as Dragon Ball fans a lot, right? Because, we eat good. We get so much content. We get so much this. We get so much that. And it's like, You get video games, you get card games, you get RPGs, you get a new video game on a new, next gen console every year. Like, it's not what we're. This, I mean, those are nice little ancillary benefits of being a Dragon Ball fan, sure, but I'm here for the story, man. And when the story just completely presses pause and makes me rewatch some shit I already watched in a much more streamlined fashion that doesn't take me literally 3/4 of a year to get through. I just think this is just a bad idea for them to redo this. I don't know what it is that has them redoing this, like what the thought process was or is. Is it because the Dragon Ball Room and many of its like head contributors to that, is it because they're working on that fucking Sandland, excuse me. Sandland? I think that's it. Toriyama's other fucking side project there. They're making an anime of that. I think it's supposed to come out in like September. And it looks cool. I never read it, but it looks cool. Maybe I'll watch it, but probably not. Let's be real. Is that why they've like really cut the focus on Dragon Ball so much this year? And they're just like, hey, we're going to make a new video game. Yeah, Budokai Tenkaichi 4. Doesn't that sound cool? Or is it the other way around? That's Budokai Tenkaichi. Go me. They like give us that little thing and they're like, anyway, here's a story you saw. See you next year. Here's a story you just saw. See you next year. Oh, you want something about an anime? Yeah, fuck you. Like, Toei is really pushing my patience or testing my patience as a fan. Like, I was always a fan of Dragon Ball when it was not on the air because I just loved the entirety of the product that ended in 97. And then they brought it back. And even though it's a lesser product, obviously, I still enjoyed it and I still love getting new shit. And I don't know, man. I feel like a spoiled little kid just like crying about some unfair shit. And you know what? I don't feel wrong about it. I just, have to admit it. Although admitting some fucking shitty behavior does not absolve you of it. So, I don't know. Keep that one in mind, Dragon Ball fans. Anyway, 93. Okay. A big chunk dedicated to the fight. Flows okay. I did like to see a different visualization or a different version of this Vegeta Goku fight on the page versus the movie. Mainly because that's not like a tribute or like a compliment to Toritaro's take on it, because it's okay. It flows all right. But just the Goku Vegeta fight scenes in this movie were the most janky ass fucking character models throughout the entirety of the film. So much of the Piccolo and Gohan stuff is so well animated. The Pan and Piccolo stuff, beautiful. Not exactly my cup of tea in terms of how they chose to animate it, but it does look nice. The Goku Vegeta stuff in the movie looks terrible. It looks so janky. You can really see it in like the way that Vegeta moves in certain parts of it. Also, Goku's hair model is just, I see what they were trying to go for. Give it like a little bit more of a 3-dimensional feel, being able to see like around the side of his head a little bit with those extra hair spikes coming out, but it just looks so dumb to me. So seeing it on the page versus on the screen actually was kind of welcoming to me because I could take those shitty models out of my head. Speaking of Goten and Trunks prequel shit, like we did a minute ago, quick Goten and Trunks tie-in here of when Piccolo goes to power up, get the Dragon Balls from Bulma. She wishes for an ass lift and longer eyelashes. He gets his power up. Trunks calls Goten, tells him, hey, some shit's going down. Don't forget your transformation watch. I guess I wonder if that'll play out in a way where like one of them or both of them manage to forget the watches, because we do know in the movie they don't transform. Maybe that's one way they make it different. Maybe they show up and they do transform. And that helps sway Hito to be like, oh, those cool guys from before in the prequel, I'm going to be a good guy now too. You're there on your team. And, the chapter closes with Piccolo going back to the Red Ribbon base and getting in on the plan to go kidnap Pan and hopefully lure Son Gohan out of his hideout, a.k.a. his big-ass fucking purple mansion that Mr. Satan bought him and his girl. So, I don't know. It's been a while since I've done an episode of Dragon Ball for so many reasons. I've been very busy, obviously, and it's just tough to make time for something that you're not super excited about, So I apologize to you guys, who've been asking, like, where the fuck you been? You can still go listen to the Advice Pod. We're there, putting out new episodes every Friday. We just put out the hotel sessions when Rayshawn came to visit. I just put those out. It's on YouTube as well, so in case you want to watch us be dickheads to each other, it's fun. But yeah, I mean, it's been tough to stay focused on anything Dragon Ball related. I have in the back of my head the Head Shala episode that I want to do. I've had the music for that one lined up since probably February or March. And I don't know, just finding the time to try to sit down to do it, keep up with everything else I got going on. I don't want to have this turn into a little bummed out rant episode, so I'm not going to do that. But hopefully things will get a little bit more consistent. At some point, I'm really hoping for a good piece of Dragon Ball news because the manga is not it right now. It's definitely not it. Man, if we got a surprise announcement that Super was coming back or like that spin-off web anime that Homeboy's been teasing since last September. Ugh, man, DBS Chronicles, he ought to be fucking embarrassed. I hope he is. Although he had all the leaks for that movie, so Dragon Ball fandom, little community, that too in and of itself is just exhausting to me to try to be around, to try to engage with. It's not worth it. 95% of the time for me, it's not worth it. So that's another contributing factor as to like, what's the point of a Super Dope right now? Yeah. Movies. All right. This is one thing that I found some positive takeaways from in the last few months. Couple months. 2023 may be the best year for superhero movies if it keeps up at this pace. So February starts off, it's Ant-Man, Quantumania. Gotta be honest, did not enjoy that film almost at all. It was visually exhausting to watch. Not a good time. For me, a couple funny moments, couple cool parts. Jonathan Majors as Kang was pretty good. We'll see if he sticks around with everything going on in his world. So it was whatever. So kind of a shitty start to the year. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. This is coming from somebody who like enjoyed the first Guardians movie quite a bit. Second one, pretty good. Definitely not as good as the first. This last Guardians movie, my lord. That might be one of my favorite comic book movies ever made. It was so beautifully well done. I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything because I know that not everybody's able to make it to the theater to go see this shit like I am in the first few days because I have a problem and can't avoid the internet. So if I see spoilers, I'll be pissed. So I like always make it a point to try to go see superhero movies very soon after the release date, if not the same day. So I won't give spoilers. Not everybody's seen it, but it's just such a satisfying conclusion in so many ways for so many of the characters. And like, there's just waterworks moments throughout the entirety of it, both in a sad way and in a happy way. And it's just such a cathartic experience to like have this recurring theme of like found family and, becoming close over the years through all these things you've gone through together. To like watch it grow through the first movie, second movie. There's stuff that happens in Infinity War and Endgame into this. It's just such a James Gunn, man. I can't wait to see what he does with Superman for real. Because Guardians 3 was beautiful. So Guardians 3, contender for me. Then I saw Spider-Verse on Thursday night. The new Across the Spiderverse, again, not going to do spoiler stuff, but I won't say it was as emotionally resonant for me as Guardians 3, but it's one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen in my life, ever. And that's coming off the back of the first one. You could probably think the same thing about the first one, like, how are they going to top that? Somehow they did. Across the Spiderverse was amazing to watch. It was so good that I had to go to the hospital afterwards. But yeah, 2023 with those two in there, and then you still have a couple of other movies to come out this year. Allegedly, The Flash has been being praised after early previews as the greatest comic book movie ever made. I wasn't super excited about it until I learned that Michael Keaton would be in it, and then I was like, oh shit, I guess I gotta see it, regardless of how I feel about Ezra Miller being like a fucking weirdo. I had to see it or want to see it because of Michael Keaton. But like all this extra hype that's being drawn to it and all this early review stuff has me pretty excited. I really hope they pull something out and do something really cool with it. And we'll see how DC reshapes itself from there on out, and if Ezra Miller's a part of it or what. But it is supposed to be the great reset into James Gunn's DC universe, so that'll be cool. So that could be 3 out of 4. I'm still counting Ant-Man in the count here, but Ant-Man sucked. I'm sorry. If you enjoyed Ant-Man, God bless you, but that movie was not good for me. Plus, we still also have the Marvels, which I think could be fun. I'm not a huge Brie Larson fan, not for the reasons y'all aren't a Brie Larson fan, but girl who plays Kamala Khan, she's fucking awesome. I think she could really tie together that movie in a really fun kind of way, which is what I think Brie Larson's Miss Marvel lacks, or Captain Marvel lacks. So yeah, Iman Vellani, I think her name might be, the girl who plays Miss Marvel. She was great in the show. Hopefully she'll bring some levity and some, some fun times to that movie. And that will like tie that chemistry together. I don't know if it'll be as good as Spider-Verse or Guardians of the Galaxy 3 or anything, but like a strong like 5th or 6th place, maybe somewhere on this list. Also, is a Kraven the Hunter movie supposed to come out this year? I saw that it was via Google, and I just don't believe that. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson, there's no way that's coming out this year, right? I've been hearing about that movie for like the last 5 fucking years. I don't know. Aaron Taylor Johnson is Kraven the Hunter, though. Like, Kraven the Hunter. I want to see him in that vest, man. Let me see the vest. But yeah, so I kept saying it before. Spider-Verse was so good that it sent me to the hospital. Oh yeah, the other thing about Spider-Verse, it's a little bit longer than I would have expected. And this isn't like a spoiler or anything. I think it was sort of talked about in the promotional material for the movie, at least some of the posters and stuff. This is a part 1 of 2 movies. Like, this trilogy is going to round out in the next movie that is going to be coming out in March of 2024. So less than 9 months between the 2 movies. That's an even more ambitious turnaround than Infinity War and Endgame coming out a year apart. Pretty fucking sick that we'll get to see part 2 soon. But this second part was a little bit longer, and it's not really in like that traditional 3-act structure, because you have a lot to do with the character of Miles and a lot to do with the character of Gwen Stacy, and basically what is setting them up to go into the actual story of this movie, of them going, as the title of the movie kind of tells you, across the Spiderverse. So there is a lot of setup to it, but they make that setup happen through some tremendous action sequences in some cases. And it's a very satisfying, very enjoying movie to watch, very engaging. There's something to look at everywhere on the screen at all times. And if you're a huge Spider-Man fan, you will catch a billion little Easter eggs that they just throw in there. Allegedly, there was a Takuya Yamashiro, aka Japanese Spider-Man, aka probably my favorite version of Spider-Man that isn't like Peter Parker Spider-Man. Although Takuya might even give Peter Parker a run for his money given the day of the week, because motherfucker's got a spider bracelet and a Spider Machine GP7 race car and a fucking giant mech called Leopardon. If you've never heard my Spider-Man Sunday podcast that I did for like 7 or 8 episodes, go check it out. It's somewhere out there. Spider-Man Sundays. It's spelled exactly how it sounds. Supaidaman. Spider-Man. Anyway. Apparently there was a Takuya Yamashiro like real quick in there, and I didn't see it. I was really hoping he'd be part of the mainline story, like kind of taking over for the Penny Parker role from the first movie with the, it's an even bigger version of a robot Spider-Man. But no such luck for me, because it's a good thing I didn't continue to carry out that podcast for all 44 episodes or whatever it was. Although maybe one day I'll do one again for fun, because they were fun. It was a lot of writing, a lot of scripting. Just because I had to recap the entirety of the episode that we watched. And I'd go into like these long like recap paragraphs, and then I'd be like, Brandon or Feds. I'm trying to think who else did a few of them with me. I know Brandon, I think my buddy Kevin did a couple with me. It was fun. It was like the beginning of COVID. My brain was fucking going crazy, so I needed to distract myself. It was fun. I'd be like, what'd you think of the bank robber Spider-Man clone? Or the lobster crab man who has like hooks for hands because he's a crab man. I guess that kind of makes sense. But most of the show does not make sense. Anyway, this is about as rambly and unfocused as I've been in a long time. Across the Spiderverse was so good, it put me in the hospital. So it was a little bit long. Toward the end of the film, probably like the two and a half hour mark. It's about 2.5 hours. My hand started getting super itchy. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but I was like, oh, my hand's a little itchy, not a big deal. I'm probably just a little antsy. I want to get out of the film, right? And on my ride home, I had a long ride home. I went to go see it in West Warwick with my buddy Artie, because he lives out there, and we used to go to a movie theater out there. We used to work near it. We go see it there. On the ride home, my whole body just busted out into hives everywhere except my face. This is the third weird allergic reaction I've had this year. The first two were kind of mild in that they were just hives, and like I take a Benadryl and go to bed and wake up okay. This one got pretty intense though. Whole body busted out into hives. A couple hours later, I'm violently vomiting. My body is just locking up, atrophying into one big fucking Charlie horse all over the place. Cold sweats, hot sweats. It was seriously probably the worst time of my life. I didn't have a podcast and my back was broken for 6 months in like 2015 or 2016, whenever that was. 2015. My back was partially broken. I had like a chipped disc that was pressing against all these nerves in my back, and I was in constant pain 24/7. That was honestly probably the worst time of my life, but man, did the other night rank up there. So I had to have my mom drive me to the emergency room because I wasn't paying like $2,000 for an ambulance at 1 o'clock in the morning, and wait around in an emergency room for like 3.5 hours just to be seen while I'm sweating and like going into the bathroom to vomit and can't stand. My arms and my hands are all locked up and shit. Thankfully, all I could think about was, in between these fits of pain of trying to undo these Charlie horses in my arms and hands. Man, Spider-Verse was good. I want to go see Spider-Verse again. Thankfully, the allergic reaction happened, I guess in the last 20 minutes of the movie. The movie, I was so entranced by the movie, I didn't even realize what was happening. I was like, oh, you're a junkie. You want a cigarette right now. That's why you're getting itchy, metaphorically. No, you were getting itchy because of hives. You were literally itchy due to an allergic reaction. Not sure what I'm allergic to. At first, I thought it was IPAs, like high hops. I thought something had changed in my whatever the fuck controls your allergies. I don't know. I thought maybe I'd changed a little bit. So I did not drink IPA since that day. I don't drink beer very often. If I am drinking, I'm either drinking White Claws or whiskey. Johnny Lawrence, shout out. I like a month later, I had a couple beers, like, I don't know, like six beers over the course of an afternoon of going to a movie and going out for lunch with my buddies. And, again, same kind of thing happened. Busted out in hives. Pretty much it. Went home, took Benadryl. That was all good. And then for this movie, I drank a beer before we went. It wasn't a beer. It was a seltzer. Drank a seltzer before I went in. Had some popcorn and some Raisinets. Bro, throwing up Raisinets, do not recommend. Stains everything. So tough to get out. Had some popcorn, some Raisinets, the seltzer, and a weed drink. Now, the weed drink's been present in all three of these hive attacks. But I've also drank it other times and been completely fine. So I'm thinking maybe it's like a combination of the weed drink and alcohol, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what it is that's setting me off, but I never want to have what happened to me happen again. That happened to me, let's see, this Saturday morning I'm recording this. This happened to me Thursday night into early Friday morning. I left the emergency room around 5:30 on Friday morning. Not a great time. Anyway, yeah, Spider-Verse was so good, it put me in the hospital. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now you understand the reference. I guess the doctor gave me, the fuck is it? A prescription for prednisone that I now have to take and cannot drink. So happy birthday to me. I will not be drinking for a little bit. See how that goes. It's not worth drinking on prednisone. You get really sick. I've had it happen to many friends. I don't typically get prescriptions like this, but it's just not worth testing out. You know what I mean? All set. But yeah, that's my birthday rant. If you're still here, God bless you. I bet you 98% of everyone has tuned out by now, because that's what we do here in this short attention span theater that is the fucking world. You show up for the parts that you need. If you didn't drop off at the Dragon Ball part or after the Dragon Ball part, that's if you even made it into the Dragon Ball part. Audience retention is a weird thing that I try not to think about usually, but for whatever reason, it just crossed my mind, and now I'm just gonna think about it some more, I guess. I don't know. Audience retention's weird. It's either get to the point, grandpa, or I'm fucking out. And honestly, I hate getting to the point sometimes because the point's not even that good. Chapter 93, that was the point. Was it good? Not really. There was some other shit in there, though. Seems a little bit more worthwhile. Maybe not even worthwhile, just a little bit more entertaining. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say. This has been stupid. I haven't podcasted in a few weeks. Talking to a microphone by myself right now is very weird. The last few ones I've been doing, though, just advice stuff. We actually got to get back to recording this week, but if you have not gone to listen to the advice, go and get the advice. Okay, there are links in the show notes. We're also doing videos for them on YouTube now, like full-length episodes. So if you want to watch me, Kelly, and Rayshawn yell at each other, you have the opportunity to do that. The last two ones that we just put up were hotel sessions from when Ray visited Rhode Island last month, or about a month and a half ago now. And I loved how they came out, because in between segments on YouTube, I have to put some kind of visual. So I'll usually just put like a dumbass meme I saw that week, you know? But for Ray's first hotel episode, I just cut in a few vacation pictures of Rayshawn. Like whenever he'd be like, hey, can you take a picture? And it would just be like him standing in front of a door of a restaurant we just ate at. And I'm just like, yeah, you want a picture? All right, cool. And then like some low key pictures I took. It's a good picture of him like in the bar room with us doing the live Super Dope from the last episode. The hotel sessions were very fun. They came out much better than I thought that they would, because I wasn't sure how I was going to film it. But it worked out mostly, except for Rayshawn and his squeaky ass chair leaning out of frame. It's very fun, good time episodes. I hope we're able to do some more in person maybe later this summer. Rayshawn might be coming out to visit again. We'll see. But yeah, the early advice stuff we did on this feed for Super Dope, you guys reacted so positively to it and loved it so much. Some of the most downloaded episodes, weirdly. And I don't know, man, it doesn't feel like that love is translating over to the other feed. So if you haven't gone to check out the other episodes, there's probably about 30 of them between the two seasons so far. I really should have a better count in my head. Is there 30? Probably. I'm going to say there's 30. So go listen to them now. Do it. It's valuable. Okay. Let's run through the checklist. I talked about Dragon Ball slightly for like 10 minutes. I poorly talked about Marvel movies for several minutes, and then I did it spoiler free though, so you're welcome, bitches. And then I talked about going to the hospital because I'm old, and cried about my other podcast that's not as successful. Got it. I did it. I did it all. Good job, everybody. We did it. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, I'm Kyle. Happy birthday to me. Na, 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 na. I'm so old, I am now 34. Damn. Still making a podcast about a Japanese cartoon for 12-year-olds, huh? Ain't that about a bitch?